Oh wow, he reaches what? 21 inches. 21. Oh man, what a fish. What a fish right there, man. This is on the Ruby River. How dark that fella is. Just dark and beautiful. Very nice fish, eh? That's a beauty, huh? What do you guys think? Was that a good one? I think that was a pretty good one. Freaking monster. Look at this guy. Hey, what's happening out there, guys? Happy here with Get Happy Outdoors. Hope you guys are enjoying your long, cold winter days indoors. I'm not an indoors guy myself at all, so I really hate being indoors, and I typically just end up watching videos about the outdoors. So I figured I might as well put together a few outdoor videos for you guys. So this one here is obviously about Montana. This is in the Ruby River, Montana. I was originally intending to put this footage together into a DVD with all my favorite rivers in Montana. But I decided I'm going to go ahead and give this to you guys for free here on YouTube. So we're going to break this Ruby River one up into a few different segments, part 1, part 2, part 3, whatever, however it goes. And this would be just the introduction to the Ruby River in Montana, one of my favorite rivers to fish. And I just figured I'd share this with you guys, give you guys some good tips and information if you ever go out there to the Ruby River, or pretty much any of the rivers in Montana or that area. So I hope you guys enjoy, and please subscribe. Honestly, guys, Get Happy Outdoors, we're not getting a whole lot of viewers or subscribers right now. I need your support. So if you guys want me to keep making more videos, then I need more subscribers. I need to see that more of you are interested in this. So if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button wherever it is. And tell your friends about it. Have them watch and subscribe as well. And hey, we're going to come out with a lot more diverse type outdoor films for you guys. Little videos and stuff like that. So hold on to your pants, or don't. However you like to watch. Here you go. Alright, so here we go. So if you don't know already, I like to ride motorcycles. And I took this little motorized bicycle out to the Ruby Reservoir. So I slept overnight under the stars on a little air mattress. And in the morning, right around sunrise, I head down right below the dam. So now I'm in the Ruby River tailwater of the Ruby Reservoir. And this is obviously the entry point for you, the access point, the first access point. Give you guys a view of the dam. That's about all the water that's running down there. This is actually a heavy flow. This is July. I think they have the flows a little heavier, like 300 plus. And the further down the river you go, the slower the flow gets, 200 or so. Because they use it for irrigation and stuff like that. Alright, time to get some hookup footage. That's fly number 1. We got a nice little mayfly hatch coming off right now. Really beautiful. So we're on the Ruby River. It's the 4th of July weekend. And you guys have seen some big trout from this river. We're going to show you what an average sized trout from this river looks like. This is maybe exactly average. I mean, the majority of the fish you catch are going to be this size when you come to the Ruby. It's not bad, right? I mean, he's a full 15 inches, maybe up to 16. Maybe 16. But that's your average Ruby River brown trout right there. And your rainbows are going to be about the same size. So this guy was a hell of a fighter. I think these 16 to 18 inchers, rainbows and browns both, are the best fighters ever. I swear. These guys are just, I mean, they use the current to their full advantage and everything. They're just fantastic fish. So yeah, that's what they are. That's about a 16 incher maybe. Just pushing 16, I think. But that's your average fish on the Ruby River. I can't believe it. Now, one thing that you should know is that a lot of people talk about the Ruby River. It's not a really well-known, not a really sought-after river because here in Montana, the location of the Ruby River, it's kind of like right in between all the other big rivers that everybody likes to go floating. And floating is the thing to do in Montana. So the Ruby is a smaller river. You don't float it, you wade it, like I'm doing. Like I love to do, solo fly fishing. So because it's such a small river and they can't float it, most fly fishermen will just pass it by and you won't get a whole lot of pressure on it, which is fantastic. Right now, we are in the portion that is the tailwater of the Ruby Reservoir. So we're about maybe a mile down from the reservoir, not even a mile, and you can fish it pretty much from the very beginning of the spillway area all the way down as far as you want. You can walk in the river the whole time and cross the river here to there and everything like that. It's more like a stream than a river. It's really, really nice. The flows are about 300 right now. So I guess that's really good. One of the other fly fishermen that I met out here said that he was hoping it would be a little bit lower. And I can imagine how much fun this river will be when it's even lower than this. You get the pocket water and stuff like that. It'd be a lot of fun. But anyways, yeah, it's around 300, maybe a little bit higher than 300 right now. And I caught this this average brown here right behind that boulder.
Up there. And as a matter of fact, that's one of my favorite spots on this river. It's a little secret spot. People don't really come over here because the trails that follow along the river, they stop well ahead of here, about 200 yards upstream from this, and they go across the river, they wade across the river and follow the trail, and it goes around this portion right here. It doesn't really come to this portion at all, so most fly fishermen don't even find this spot. I found it because I walked the river the whole time. I don't really get on the banks and follow trails. So that little spot right there, it's got that riffle water right there. There's a few boulders lined up. There's a few boulders lined up to go to that big boulder. And that line of little boulders right there that's under the water causing that riffle, that's the spot that you want to fish to. It actually gets pretty deep right below those. You know, maybe just, you know, a little more knee deep for you and I. But the fish are loving it in there. That's why I caught my biggest rainbow on this river, which is a 21 inch so far. And that's, like I said, so far. I know there's bigger ones in here and I'm going to get them. But anyways, these are the kind of places that you can hit as well. You know, I don't like keeping secrets, and the whole purpose of me making my DVDs is I want like-minded individuals to come out here and truly have a gratifying experience, as opposed to listening to a fly shop, coming out here not knowing, you know, what to use besides what they told you and not having any luck. Most of the guys I'm seeing out here, they're using predominantly dry flies only, exclusively dry flies, and they come out of the river after a full day fishing. They say they've only caught 4 or 5 all day and they had a good day. That's not a good day. That was number 14 for me, and it's 9 o'clock in the morning. I've only just begun. 14 fish, all over 16 inches. Got one 20-inch brown this morning, one 20-inch rainbow. But the people just don't understand. You have to nymph. I call it traditional fly fishing. It's where the name fly fishing came from. It's because you're fishing with bugs. You're imitating bugs to catch the fish. And a lot of the people don't understand that anymore. That's why I call it traditional. A lot of fly fishermen, especially here in Montana, are all about streamers. And that's not fly fishing, that's spinner fishing. You might as well grab a spinner rod. You know, there's a time for streamers, like midday, really hot. There's no hatches, the bugs aren't crawling around on the bottom of the water. They're not really hitting nymphs or anything like that. That's when you pull a streamer out and cast it a few, you know, big pocket water, big deep holes and stuff like that. But there's a time for streaming. It's not all the time. So out here, yeah, a lot of these Montanans, they just fish streamers exclusively too. Streamers or dry flies exclusively. It's beyond me. I don't understand it. It's not fly fishing. You know, if you're going to fish a streamer all the time, you might as well have spinner gear. Use a Panther Martin or something. You know what I mean? And as far as the dry flies go, you know, they're just using attractor dry flies. They're not even trying to imitate any hatches or anything like that. No wonder they're not catching anything. I mean, there's a time and a place for an attractor dry fly as well, which, again, same time as you would use a streamer pretty much for traditional fly fishing like myself. When it's the middle of the day, there's no hatches, they're not taking nymphs, you try to throw an attractor dry fly out there and get them to throw it in the riffle water. That's always the best. But nymphing is the way to go. I've caught my biggest trout and the most trout on nymphs. And we're using little size 18s here. Okay, so they're tiny, tiny little nymphs. The fish, they live in this water. So they're used to seeing what they're eating. They're used to seeing tiny little nymphs. They're used to seeing bigger flies. And because they are used to having fishing pressure, they prefer to go for the smaller nymphs. Because they know most of the time they're going to be real. And that's why I have such great luck. I don't use what everybody else uses. I use what I know is in the water and what I know the fish are actually feeding on. that's what fly fishing is all about. So come on out to the Ruby River, have a great time, use small nymphs. I'll show you a little bit more about the nymphs themselves a little bit later on here. And yeah, you're gonna have a great time out here. There's a specific rig that I use when I'm fishing out here too. It's actually kind of different and weird. In my opinion, it's very weird. But I use my traditional fly at the bottom, and then lead about 16 to 18 inches away from that. So that's the traditional setup for the nymph. Okay, just a single fly and just a little tiny weight too. Use smaller weights in this smaller streams. But what I've done on this river, what's working really, really good, is adding an extra fly above that weight, about 14 to 15 inches above it. And it's just working really well. I mean, usually they see this top fly, but they miss it. And then this bottom fly comes floating by them, and they're ready. They're anticipating another fly coming, and they grab it. So that's why it's working so well. This one's kind of like a teaser. You know, this teases them to start looking. You know, it's really cool. I don't know. It's funny how I figured it out, but sometimes they'll even get a hold of this fly too. You know, a lot of times. And another thing I never do is I never put the same exact fly on both of them. If I'm using a 2-fly rig, which I hardly ever do, they won't be the same fly, almost ever. So anyways, those are a few tips on the Ruby, and we got more coming up, so stay tuned.